Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we're planning for May. So this month I decided that my theme was going to be cross stitch. I have been doing a lot of cross stitch lately. Ever since last year I kind of got into it as a new hobby. I think a lot of people can relate to this, where you kind of started a new hobby out of nowhere in 2020. But I actually really enjoy it, and I've been doing more and more complicated projects, and it's really fun. It's also super duper easy. I also crochet and knit, and I feel like cross stitch is so easy to get into. It's so cheap to start. There's even cross stitch patterns available, or cross stitch kits available at the dollar store. So it's really, really easy to start. But anyway, this isn't about cross stitch, it's about bullet journaling. And anyway, so I've been cross stitching a lot, and I thought, hey, my bullet journal has a grid. Why don't I make little X's and it's like a cross stitch pattern? And hence this theme was born. And I could have actually made a pattern. There are lots of free websites online where you can make patterns for free for cross stitch, or I could have just, planned it out in my bullet journal before I started drawing. But you know me. You know how I love to just go with the flow and do whatever comes into my head as it does come into my head. So that's what I did. And yes, it looks a little bit random, but I still like it. I still think it looks kind of cool. I like all the little X's and how it's kind of like pixel art. You can see what it looks like from afar. And I wanted it to kind of look a little bit vintage, a little bit like old school cross stitch, the kind that you see like, Home Sweet Home, Quaker style. And with like little flowers and borders and stuff. So the first spread I did is the cover page, and I just made a border and I did some lettering. And like I said, I was just making it up as I went along, and it was super fun. And all I did was I just used my Crayola Super Tips markers, and I just followed the dot grid, and I used a couple of different colors, just a couple of greens, a pink and purple, or like a magenta and purple. Later on I used an orange. As I was doing it, I kind of felt like it looked a little bit too abstract. But looking at it from further away, you can really see all the little designs. And so the second spread that I did was the monthly spread, and I did this little design at the bottom, which is just 3 rows, and I kind of wanted it to look like a border, but also like little flowers at the bottom. And these are super abstract. They're just like a couple of crosses here and there, and I think it actually turned out really cool. And I think that's the cool thing about cross stitch is when you're close up to it, it doesn't really look like anything. But then when you step back, you realize, oh, all these little crosses make a picture. So one of the things of course, because I was completely winging it, I did mess up a couple of times. And one of the things that I messed up was that A. It doesn't really look like an A, but you get the gist of it and it's okay. Also, I didn't leave enough space for all of the days of May. So the 31st of May will just not happen this year. I'm sorry to anyone who wanted the 31st of May this year, but it's not going to happen because it didn't fit into my calendar this year. So that's unfortunate. And another thing I did was this time I just went through and did all of the designs, all the color portions. So then I went back with my black pen afterwards and did all the dates and other writing and stuff, just because I felt like I was in the groove of it, making these little crosses, so I didn't want to stop, get the pen, and then I did kind of like a different font every time I did the lettering. It just depended on how much space I had to do the letters. My next spread was my Etsy and YouTube planner spread, and here I did this sort of like hash stitch to separate the sections, which I think kind of goes with it because a lot of times when you're doing cross stitch, the pattern also calls for a bit of back stitch, so I thought that's kind of what's going on there. And my final spread is my weekly spread, and last month I didn't do a plan with me, but what I ended up doing is creating just one heading for the week and having like one page or even sometimes half a page for my like weekly to-dos. And I find that really works for me. I tried doing like an hourly timed spread and it's not for me. In my work bullet journal, the one that I use during the day for work, I usually just do daily planning. I don't even do weekly. I'm just so not a time-based person. I find that if I just write down my list of tasks and make sure to categorize them a little bit or prioritize them, then that is all I need. I don't like to set times for myself because especially in this bullet journal, because it's for my side hustle, but also for like personal stuff and personal goals. So I don't like to make these things into a chore. For me, it's a lot better if I just write down a list and I know exactly what I'm going to do, but I don't have it sort of assigned to a certain day or a certain hour of a day, So that's why I really like my YouTube and Etsy spreads, because I can sort of refer back to them the whole month and I don't have to schedule it in and then have to reschedule it. I hope you really enjoyed watching me create this spread. I hope I inspired you and maybe enabled you to maybe start a new hobby or maybe try it if you have never tried it before. It's super easy and fun. Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video if you liked it, subscribe to see my future videos, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!